Hi, welcome back to another incredible, uplifting, inspiring, heart-powered, inspiring interview. And I'm so excited because every time I have amazing guests with us that share their best practices, encourage you, give you concrete hints and tips on how you can step up with your speaking and your business and your life. And today, again, I have a really amazing lady, and we have been working with the same mentor for quite a while. And she is just really such a star when it comes to work in the corporate world. And so, who is she? Who do we have today with us? Well, her name is Gita, and I love your name. It's like Gitanjali, right? Gita.
That's right. Yes.
And it sounds like Gita Angel in a way, right? You're our angel. And she really is an executive coach, professional possibilist. I mean, don't we all want to be possibilists, right? Embracing what's possible. She's also really a neuroscience nerd, and I love that about her because she mixes science with her amazing, deep, and open hard work with her clients. And she's really one of the most amazing catalysts of change that I've ever met in my life. And she's really on a mission to liberate the 3 pounds of flesh inside of all of us, and especially her clients, really to start seeing the possibilities and to really not only seeing them, but really acting on them with curiosity and courage. And, she's really, her amazing high definition new coaching method is backed by science and is really influenced by her time as a leader in her 15-year career, banking career, where she really ran a multi-million-pound P&L department and, weathered the global financial crisis that we all went through together already, right?
Yes.
And she really led highly engaged teams, and she loves to build and make teams flourish in the greatest way and work with corporate leaders. And since then, she spent already a decade working with leaders and teams, transforming the way they think, feel, and behave. And I know that when we change and transform the way that we think, act, and behave, magic happens. So, Geeta, it's amazing to have you with us today.
Thank you so much. Gosh, when you were doing the number of years, I'm like adding it up, going, gosh, almost 10 years with my own company, High Definition You, and 15 before that. You start to add it up, Monique, and it's like, oh, yes, that's right. And I had a whole other career before my banking career, which was acting. So once you add that in, it's like, let's zoom back from the wrinkles and go from there.
Welcome to the club. I mean, obviously, in that way, we probably share a story because I've also worked in the corporate world for 15 years and then I stepped out and last 10 years. It's also 10 years for me. I'm really encouraging, inspiring, and uplifting entrepreneurs and speakers. And you are doing your magic in the corporate world, and you're also working with entrepreneurs. So, Geeta, just tell us what keeps you joyful and uplifted and in the vortex right now.
Oh, I love those words, joyful and uplifted. I love a little vortex jumping, getting in there. I think there's always different elements to your life, right? For me, it's very much about family. It's about my kids. It's always layered with me because I have a little 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. And because I'm such a neuroscience nerd, because I'm so obsessed with the brain, of course, they're my little experiment, right, Monique? They're like, ooh, let me see, how am I going to wire their brain? And applying all the things that I talk to adults about and actually having the ability to get that into their brain. So it is so truly joyful and uplifting for me when I see them getting it, when they truly, because you never know, right? Like you never know. You tell them, this number of times to wash their hands after they go to the bathroom. You never know when it is that they're going to get it and they're just going to start doing it from that place of having wired it in their brain. And when I see the little things and when they come out with stuff, that truly, it makes me just feel so, grateful, really. And we do that every night. Actually, that's one thing that makes me joyful every single day. We do what we're grateful for at the end of every night. So we used to do it even when we used to travel. Remember those days? And I'd be in New York or Poland and I'd call in and we'd do what we're grateful for. Now, let me just put a big caveat around this. Sometimes, it goes a little bit something like this, like, what are you grateful for? And one of them will smirk and say, I'm grateful for poo-poo. I'm like, okay. So, sometimes it's profound. Like, I'm grateful for my loving family. I'm grateful for my warm house. I'm grateful for playing with friends. Sometimes it's not so profound, but whatever it is, it truly is. It brings me joy on 2 levels because it brings me joy personally as a parent. And then also when I think, yeah, that's they're all things that I ask my clients when they're much, much older to be doing. So I'm like, if they can get it right, then I know that the adult brain can do it as well. So it's double looped in terms of the double loop joy. Is that such a thing, Monique? Double loop joy, that's what I'm calling it.
I love it, and I think we can have probably a whole overnight with some wine kind of conversation on what's easier to rewire a brain of a kid or of an adult, right? But anyhow, that's an entirely different story. But I know that.
I will say on that though, neuroplasticity is really interesting, because we did used to believe that our brains were fixed by about kind of early 20s. So we did think it was really, really hard. That's why expressions like "you can't teach an old dog new tricks" would come in. But we now know from the research that that's just not true. We don't need to divulge our age, but even at our age and much beyond, you can. I will say it is simpler when they're younger, because you're not undoing deeply held habits and laying new wiring. It's just like fresh wiring going in, which is magical.
Yeah, I know we can, and we do, right, every day and every, I mean, all the time, with ourselves as well and with our clients. And that's really the fun part when we see that we can shift things.
Oh yeah.
And so let's talk about the amazing work you do, and let's talk about what are you especially doing in your business right now, and really bring your whole business to an entirely new level, because I know that you are up on a couple of really juicy things. And it's not only for our audience and everyone that's here with us today to really find out about what you do, but they also love to know what can they do. What are your top tricks? What are your top best practices that they can apply to bring their business forward as well?
Yeah. So what am I up to, firstly, and then some top tips from there. Everything for me sits under and you know this, Monique, I am the Possibilist. So everything really sits under that for me. And it's about any part of my business that I'm looking at is driving towards one thing. And that is a pretty epic mission, which you encouraged me to keep at the epic level. So thank you for that lovely one a couple of years ago when I tried to go back to just 1 million people. And you're like, I thought you said 1 billion. Why did it change? And I'm like, you're right. So thank you for giving me back that gift, right, of staying in that space and really owning it, because that's the number that's been in my head for whatever reason, right? Like any of your listeners, who knows why things pop into our head, but it's about honoring that and saying, okay, and my mission is well and truly to create and empower 1 billion possibilists. So there it is. What does that actually mean? It means I spent a lot of my time as an actor and a lot of my time in corporate and a lot of my early years of my business career feeling very, very low confidence. And there would be a lot of negative chit chat going on in my brain, and one might describe that as negativity, right? There was a sense of negativity about myself, and that translated into low confidence and poor decision making. Then on the other side, what I started to hear from people is, oh my gosh, you're so positive. There's such positivity when I speak to you. I feel so uplifted. And I started to really think about these two very polarized ideas of how and who we are in the world. So you're either waking up with positivity or you're waking up with negativity. And what I realized through the course of, my research into neuroscience and human behavior, but also the work that I've been doing on myself, as well as with my clients, is that what I want to activate, where I want to take the conversation in terms of the work that I do and the way that I'm empowering people, is it's less about positivity, like aiming for being positive all of the time, and less about avoiding negativity and not wanting to be seen as negative. The true power that we have as human beings is to activate the possibility. So if my 1 billion, how will I judge that? Is if 1 billion people before I die wake up with possibility, then I will know I have done what I was here to do. And that is to activate the curiosity in their brain so that they see the possibility. I'm negative. God, I'll wake up. I'm like, oh, my 4-year-old was up at, 3 and then 4:30 in the morning. My gosh, I'm tired. It's less about that admonishing of selves. And you can play that into everything, for your listeners they're creating their own products. And we're very good as entrepreneurs generally in that space, aren't we? Of seeing what the possibilities are and then tending to go into that space of, well, that would be too difficult. But it is about activating possibility. And you said, how do we, concrete kind of tips and tricks around that? It really is. And this is, I have quite a lot of rants, Monique. I have quite a lot of rants. One of them is about positivity and negativity, like forget those. But the other side of that is really a word that we've talked about before, which is confidence, right? Which I really want to ban from the English language. Actually, what is it in German? What's confidence in German?
I'd say Selbstbewusstsein, like self-awareness in a way, right? Or self-consciousness, or yeah.
Ooh, I like that. I like the consciousness part of it, right? Because that's where I want to take the conversation in terms of as a tangible tip, if you will, for people, is it's impossible to activate the possibilities if what you're doing is constantly living from a place of self-doubt. Now, what we've been fed the myth of is that when we feel confident, we'll do a certain thing, right? And it's just a complete myth. And it's actually not how our brain is wired at all. If you think about it, neither of us are crawling right now. We didn't wait till we felt confident to start walking, right? We were doing it from a place of curiosity. And as you said in the intro, courage, because we were curious. We could see people around us doing it. There was something that we wanted more than what we had. And we didn't even see it as courage at the time, right? We weren't conscious of that, but we were acting from that place. We weren't waiting. There was a lot of praise. There was, oh my gosh, yay. But even then, that can be challenging for people if they're waiting for the praise in order to take the next step. So how do you activate that curiosity? I mean, obviously, come and we can explore that further, but in a very tangible way for people right now is start to look to the quality of the questions that you're asking yourself and others. Why am I not earning more in my business? Why am I not further ahead? Why don't I have more clients? These are all questions. It's not activating your curiosity.
No.
Right? How can I, to your point of the way that you work with people as well, is how can I increase my impact in the world? How can I create something that's so enticing that people will understand it straight away? Where are the people that I'm meant to serve? And then this is the trick so that's the tip. And this is the trick is trust the process, because our brains are magnificent, truly magnificent. I don't care. You can speak to, maybe you've had them on, amazing, like AI geeks, where there's so much stuff that they're doing with computers. Nothing will replicate the magic of those hundreds of trillions of neural pathways. Because what we do is once we put that question in, it is designed, intrinsically designed to come up with an answer. But whether it's personal or professional, like, why can't I lose weight? You're putting a question in. Yeah. It's going to give you an answer. Well, because you're lazy, because you were never good at sport, because that's your DNA. It's going to solve the problem that you put in it. And I was actually just telling, I run a program called the Possibility Program, unsurprisingly, which is outside of corporate. And I was telling them this morning, there's this idea called GIGO. I don't know if you've heard of it. No. It's GIGO. So it's very much an IT term. It's also a mathematical term. And actually, I did 1 year of maths at uni, but we didn't come across it. And it basically stands for this. And I really encourage people to write this down. It's GIGO, which is garbage in, garbage
out. We all heard it, right?
So it's about the quality of the questions that I'm asking my brain.
Yeah,
that is,
I love it.
Determine the quality of the output.
Yeah, very much. And I love what you're saying about the questions. And it's really about us becoming more aware and observing what kind of questions happen in my mind, or what am I asking myself, and what am I triggering to really get that curiosity going. And, a good friend of mine, I love how you're saying, pretty much don't ask these negative questions that pull you down, rather ask these positive, empowering, possibilist kind of questions, right? And I think the only difference between the questions that pull you down and the questions that lift you up is normally take the word no out, right? So it's like, in terms of like, why don't I make that money? So why do I make that money? Why can I make this money, right? So take the not out and put the can in. Why can I do it, right? That these are the right questions to ask. Powerful.
Yeah. And changing it to a how can I?
Yeah, exactly.
The can I is a yes or no. It's like,
yeah,
I'm not ready.
How can I? Exactly. Right.
And then let the brain process, because the trick that I was going to say in terms of the process, answer me this, Monique. Have you ever been in the shower? That is not the question. Have you ever been in the shower when an idea has popped into your brain?
Of course, all the time, right? Every shower.
That's the process. Is you've put a quality question in for your brain to solve,
right?
And it will do what it's designed to do out of your consciousness.
Right.
And it will feel like, I don't know, it just kind of came to me in the shower, or I was running and this great idea popped in. That's because the input was clean and powerful and empowered with curiosity. Right. And then, of course, at the other end, another time we can talk about, then there's courage, right, to act on it.
I'm very curious because I heard you talk about how to get out of our BMW. Can you very quickly just tell us what is BMW and how can we get out of it?
Yes, the BMW. That is a key part of my high definition method to changing your brain. And is that we spend the majority of our time as human beings in our BMW. And it's a lovely car. Please don't sue me, BMW, if anyone from there is watching this. But in my method, there are two levels to your BMW. And one is, I will just slightly swear, bitching, moaning, and whinging, right? And that can be, I cannot believe that person cut me off on the motorway, or I can't believe the tubes are late, when we used to get tubes, or this weather is ridiculous, it's so cold, when is it going to get warm? Oh my God, it's so hot, this Indian summer's going on. BMW. And the longer you spend in your BMW, the less likely it is that you're going to get closer to what it is that you want, even if you name what you want. Now, when it becomes insidious and really very destructive is when we go to, in my method, what we call level 2 BMW. And that is blaming, manipulating, and worrying. Now, that is real. There's a virus, there's the economy, there's lost jobs, there's family illness. But the longer we spend in that BMW, in that space, the smaller our ability to influence the outcome of our life and create a reality that is one that we want. So it's about noticing, just noticing. That's where I ask everyone to start. Just notice for now how long you're in your BMW for. And then trust me, you're going to start noticing when other people around you are in their BMW. Because what's it like? You tell me, Monique, what's it like to be around people that are in their BMW?
Well, obviously the energy is not what you want it to be, right? You don't feel inspired, people pull you down, right? So, okay, make sure.
We're doing that to ourselves, right? We're doing that to ourselves when we're in the BMW. Right. It's exhausting.
The funny thing is, I don't know what I'm going to do this afternoon when I'm going to jump into my BMW again, but but it's a positive one. It's a shiny, uplifting one. Right?
Do you have a BMW? Do you own a BMW?
Anyhow, so if you're driving a BMW, drive it, but get away from the mindset, right? And rather bring an uplifting mindset with you as you drive your BMW. But anyhow, I love it. And I really think that, again, it's just, the longer we are in this BMW mindset, right? The more it diminishes and eventually eliminates our curiosity and courage. And we need to get away from it as fast and as long as we can. So, Gita, I know that you are a woman of action, like I am, right? Yes. Talking is one thing, but really turning our learning into doing is such an important part of our heart-powered, inspiring interviews. Mm-hmm. So I'd like to ask you, what is one thing in a very practical step that people can take today to get out of the BMW and into the space of possibilities, so they become possibilists like you and me? And I know everyone that's watching this, anyhow, I know you all are already possibilists, otherwise you wouldn't even follow us, right? Mm-hmm. However, what can they do? What is one concrete thing to really step up in a greater way to become even more curious and even more courageous?
I sort of alluded to it already. I'll streamline it down to one very clear thing. It is to ask yourself one question, and that question can be this: what is it that I control in this moment.
Hmm.
And then just let your brain do what it's designed to do and see what it comes back with. What is it that I control within this moment? And see what happens from there.
Yeah.
And then
magic happens.
and after that is the trick. But that's the way to get out of your BMW is, what do I control in this moment?
I love it. So Gita, thank you so much. And all of you that are here with us today, again, take action. We love you to take action right away. So ask yourself that question. What is one thing, or what is it in my life or in my business that I have control over, that I'm controlling? And we would love to hear from you. So as you're part, hopefully already, of our HeartPowered Global Nation, share with us today, what is the answer to that question? Because very likely it is where your genius is, right? It's probably what you're good at, what you can share with the world, where your value is, where your heart is as well. So we'd love to know from you. Share it with us today. We play always like the action game right away. So we'd love to hear from you today.
And can I say to them, if they are answering it today, and right, it can be very small. It doesn't have to be huge. You want to activate the curiosity by asking that question. So it might be, what do I control right now? It doesn't have to be as big as my business and my life. It can be, I have the ability to go for a walk outside. Like, that's what I control. Or I have the ability to step away from the computer, or I control the fact that I can put down the phone to that person. Or it can be a very small thing.
Yeah.
But don't feel sort of like, oh, I need some big epiphany from it. It's just activating your curiosity from that space and just see what comes up for you, and then take action on it.
Yeah. And again, a lot of you want to always speak up and grow your business and reach more people and touch more lives, right? And again, you have control over taking action today. So play with us this little game, right? Let us know, what do you have control over? And maybe it's just, for me, standing in front of a mirror, giving myself a big smile or something, right? Just to uplift us. Anyhow, so Gita, it's been amazing to have you with us. I know some people are very curious to get to know more about Gita and what you're doing in amazing work, and maybe even checking out your Possibility program. Where can people find you?
Well, I'm on Instagram and LinkedIn, so find me there, and Facebook. And you can feel free to DM me, please. I'm very, very happy to respond to you directly. Or you can have a look, if you're more a website person, you want to do a little bit of stalking, then go to highdefinitionyou.com, and you'll find lots of, by the way, loads and loads of free coaching tips on my top tips page, because I want to make it as easy as possible for people to become a possibilist. And if they can't afford coaching right now, then that's a way for them to start to move forward with their life, because anything is possible and up for grabs until you decide that it isn't.
I love it. I think we share a mission, Gita. I mean, you inspiring 1 billion new possibilists, right? We are inspiring and uplifting, 1 billion entrepreneur speakers to really grow their income and their impact and share the message in a greater way. So all of you, if you're not part of our HeartPowered Global Nation yet, just jump on board. Just look for it on Facebook, HeartPowered Global Nation. And Gita, it's been amazing to have you with us. Thank you for the inspiration you're sharing, for your energy, for your, for the space you're creating for all of us to really embrace what's possible. And I'm definitely curious to learn more from you, and courageous enough one time to ask you back for another interview in the future. So thank you so much
for asking me.
Any last kind of inspiring message you would like to leave?
Yeah, I think, oh gosh, I love it. Loads of a good cheesy quotes left, right, and center all over everything I do. But I mean, the fundamental thing for me is really this: is in those moments is when you will feel like, oh gosh, can I do it? Can I not do it? Can I say yes to that speaking gig? Can I step up and create that new product? Is simply this: is be more curious than afraid.
More curious than afraid. I love that. What a powerful round off. Thank you, Gita, for being with us today. And thank you all for being with us and following us. And, we love to have you, and again, I hope that these insights and suggestions and powerful messages from Gita are lifting you up and, help you to take the next level, to become more curious and courageous, to become a possibilist like we are. And wishing you an amazing day. Again, as I said, start taking the action. We are back with an incredible interview with another leader and change maker and speaker to uplift and inspire you very soon. So have a wonderful day, everyone. And thank you, Gita. Let's go and rock it.
Thank you.